Hey, how's it going? I love me some red dot sights, and I'm certainly not the only one, seeing as how red dots are the most popular optic choice aside from iron sights. I'm not going over which optic system is best for which application today, just going over an inexpensive but impressive option offered by Sig, the Romeo MSR. The Romeo series of red dots from Sig are red dots varying in price point and design. The Romeo 5 is an Aimpoint T2 clone, which I happen to own, and is truly a fantastic red dot for the price. If I remember correctly, the MSR and Romeo 5 are actually manufactured by HoloSun and then sold by Sig under their branding. The Romeo 7 is an Aimpoint Comp M4, aka the M68 CCO, clone. I own one of these too, and it's the exact opposite of the compact and light Romeo 5. It's a hulking behemoth of a red dot that would probably survive me hucking it off a fucking cliff. The Romeo MSR is close in size to the Romeo 5, but comes in at about two-thirds the price. You can find the Romeo 5 pretty commonly for 120 to 150 bucks, and the MSR for between 80 and 120 bucks. I managed to find one on PSA for 75 smackaroonies. This isn't really a full review, but I will go over the basic specs of this optic. It comes with 12 brightness settings, 10 daylight, and 2 night vision. I don't own night vision, yet, but I've heard the glass clarity is not very good, so those NV options likely won't be utilized. Its brightness is controlled by a rheostat wheel at the top of the optic, and is powered by a single 1632 button cell battery. It advertises 20,000 hours of battery life, but that number assumes a much lower brightness setting than anyone would realistically use during the daytime. Just know that if you leave it on, you're probably going to have to replace the batteries at least a few times a year. It comes with a high mount out of the box, and uses a T1 footprint. The dot is 2 MOA in size, and in this example is red. You can get the same optic with a green laser diode for a green dot, which usually costs about $10 more. It also comes with a pair of transparent flip-up lens covers, which is nice. Now, I actually own 2 examples of this optic, one that I bought and one that Sig sent me as a replacement for the first one. The first MSR lived on my AR9 and survived about 1,000 rounds of the blowback action before I installed the gentle recoil system. The violent recoil of the straight blowback 9mm caused the optic to begin flickering under recoil and sometimes just from movement, like sending the bolt home. It still kinda works under the max brightness settings, but I wanted to get a replacement. That leaves me with a partially dead MSR that Sig didn't ask me to send back, so it looks like it's time for some torture testing. In an original communication I got, Sig made it sounded like they wanted video evidence of me physically pulverizing the optic to prove I wasn't just getting another one for free, but they never followed up on that request. I assume because the MSR is the least expensive optic they offer. So, I'll do you one better, Sig. I'll do it without having to, and if the optic survives after already being damaged, that'll look pretty good. Overall, I'm not too concerned with the glass or body taking much damage, but since this MSR took damage by recoil alone, I'm worried about the electronics on the inside. I'm not an electrician, but it seems like the PCBs on the inside might not be secured very well. I'm also concerned with the mount. It's a T1 pattern mount, but it really doesn't look sturdy. It has 4 thin aluminum legs I suspect will buckle under the weight of the rifle, but let's find out, shall we? I attached the optic to the included mount with blue Loctite, and I mean a shitload of blue Loctite. My Loctite bottle decided to ejaculate all over the screw holes, giggity, so, I guess they'll be a little extra secure. I torqued the screws down to 20 inch-pounds, which in hindsight was not up to the 30 inch-pound specs Sig recommends, but spoiler alert, it didn't fucking matter. I then mounted it to my adorable little coat hanger abortion beater rifle, and had at it. Today, we're testing the Sig Romeo MSR on my beautiful coat hanger abortion of a beater rifle. A rifle that I do not give a fuck about, to the point where I will do that. First, we got some Lake City M193, so I'll put a couple rounds, I'll see if it's anywhere close to zeroed. And the dot turned off, and it's back. And we are hitting high. So, let's go ahead and adjust the zero a little bit with a 44 Magnum aluminum case. I adjusted it, let's see what we get. Okay, we're hitting good enough for me. We're hitting that target, so we're going to make the weapon clear. That's very good looking. The dot is still on. Okay.
Okay. Really harsh. Dropping it on a rock. We have officially lost 0. Let's see how bad the 0 loss is. Okay, we are hitting high again. We're back, baby. Now we're going to do a shoulder height. Woo! And it held 0 that time. Color me impressed. I can't say that much bad about this. And this is with the base mount. This is not some extremely durable mount. This is the base one. Let's try some of these. That did it. The rock didn't, but that did. Yeah, it looks like. Yes. When this dot shifts 0, it is shifting high, or low, actually. The point of aim on the dot, is shifting low. That was a pretty good smack. And we shifted again. Somewhere. 10 clicks, we're gonna be back in 0. This is PPU 556 now. Oh, we're gonna need more than 10. 20. Okay, now we're hitting, and we are hitting low still. I see where I hit. Okay. Yeah. We're back.
So, to recap, the circuitry in this dot was messed up to begin with, and now I have dropped it on gravel from shoulder height, shit-hucked it at a stump, dropped it on a big ol' rock from 3 feet and 5 feet high, thrown it into a pile of dirt and leaves, slammed it into a block of oak, and punched it like an aggressive homeless man. And the worst that happened was the optic lost 0. And the thin aluminum legs of the mount took some damage, which would explain the lost 0, actually. Speaking more on that point, all 4 legs of this mount had a strange discoloration, which I'm willing to bet is the finish cracking off due to stress of the material. I took measurements with a shitty pair of calipers and got dimensions of 2.9 by 3.4 millimeters. That really is not a lot of material and warrants either a redesign or replacement. My recommendation, if you get this optic, is to immediately replace the mount with literally anything else on the market. On the MSR I use on my 300 blackout upper, I replaced the MSR mount with the mount off the Romeo 5. It uses 2 wide legs on either side of the optic instead of the 4 skinny ones. Getting the pretty inexpensive UTG mount would also work if you're trying to keep things budget, but you could also throw a $200 T1 mount on it for a funny combination. Now onto the SIG customer service experience. It was interesting. I sent an RMA request on SIG's website sometime in August of 2023 and got an email response on the 2nd of October asking for more details. It was then the 1st of December until I got a shipping notification, so about 2.5 months later. I get that SIG is a very busy company and has government contracts to fill, but that was quite the long wait. Rugged repaired my Obsidian 9 suppressor significantly faster, and that's a highly regulated item. And I've got limited experience with the second example, but it appears to work well on my 300 blackout upper. And I've intentionally knocked it around a bit just to make sure it doesn't display any of the issues that the first one has. I'll report back when I have a shitload of rounds on the second example. So in conclusion, at this time currently, I would recommend this optic, but I'm not sure about using it on a quote-unquote go-to-war gun without a replacement mount and a specific red dot that isn't a lemon like my first one was. It would fit well on the light recoiling rifle that you don't expect to crawl through trenches with, like a 5.56 range rifle, a 5.45 AK, or maybe a 22 long rifle. Straight blowback in 9mm fucked my first one up, so I advise you proceed with caution on a weapon like that. And even if it is just a range toy, I would still recommend replacing the mount. But hey, that's your prerogative. But your red dot choice matters a lot less than training and health. My knees are fucked, but I'm still pushing myself to go on runs weekly and run drills with sprints on the range. and I know you can too. Be the best you can be, and take care of yourself.